So in this video, we are going to see how we create or write dashboard kind of API where we need to just show the or return the data we have in particular table. Let's say count, like in customers, we have this much of count. Like in orders, we have this much of count. Dashboard API, right? So dashboard API doesn't perform CRUD operation. They are just there to get us the total count of some records of some particular table. So let me just create a new controller. Right click, add controller. In API, I have to create empty controller. So then my controller name will be dashboard. So in any project, there is no web application project or Windows application, anything. Always we have a dashboard where we can see all the application data in a single page, whether it can be count, whether it can be with the graph, anything, right? We don't do CRUD operation on the dashboard page. We just show statistical data there. So this is the controller I have created. Let's just rename it dashboard. Now let's create a method public. Okay, before that, method name will be HTTP GET. Then route get dashboard data. This is going to be my route name. Now, if we see here in the model, we had just created two tables, that is department and the employee. So now in this API, we will return just the count of these two tables. So when we return anything, if we have seen the previous API, let's go to the department, we need the return type, whether we are returning the list, whether we are returning single object. Like if we are in the department component, we were returning department, right? But if we are, let's say in the employee component, so here we have employee class, right? Like that. Now in dashboard component, we are going to return a data, right? So for that, let's create a class. Okay, in department controller, in department model, I'm creating one more class. So we can create n number of classes into particular class. So this is a class. Inside that, this is one class. Again, we can create any number of classes here. So public class, either you can create a new class also, doesn't matter. Dashboard data. Now, here we will have key value pair data, right? So property, let's say employee employee count, it will be employee count, right? Then we have department count. Right? So we have created a class which is where we have two properties, that is employee count and dash department count. Now, this is going to be a return type for this API. So public this get dashboard bracket curly bracket, right? So now for this API, this is going to be my return type. Means I'm going to return data of this particular class. Just add a namespace after that. So what I need to do now, first I need to create the object of this class. So how do I create the object? Class underscore obj is equal to new, our class name. So this is how we create the object. So if you have worked with Angular or JavaScript, there we used to create something different, but in C# we create the object like this. So now, if we say object underscore object dot, so you can see two properties. What are the properties I have in that particular class? I can access those. Now, department count. So what department count? First, we need the count of all the records from the particular department table. So for that, again, we need to create the DB context object and everything. So let's go to any controller. Let's copy this. Let's paste it over here. Just we need to rename the controller class name, right? So we have created object of DB context. Then what we need, underscore DB dot departments. We are going to need count of department table. So dot to or count. So this is a way by which we can calculate the total number of records we have in the particular table, right? Then underscore object dot second thing, sorry, underscore object dot that is employee count equal to again underscore DB. Now this time in the employee count, we have to store the total count of employees. So employee master dot count, right? So with this, what we have did, we have created object of the dashboard data class. Then in that object dot department count, this property was there. We have stored the count of that particular table. And in employee count, we have stored the count of employee master table. Then we just have to simply return the underscore object, because what we have said in the method that we are going to return the data type of this particular class. So we have created an object of this class so that we can return it, right? So now what is remaining? We just need to add that course. So let me just copy this and put it over here. We just need the namespace also. So let's save and let's run now. Let me just add a debugger. So let's check how many records we have. So right click queries, select star from, or we need the count, right? So select count star of from our table name, that is departments. So if we run this, we will get the count of. So in department table, we have 10 record. Just like that, let's see the count of employee also. See, in result 2, in employee table, we just had 2 records. So let's see that if we have the 2 records or not. Yes, so see here, we just have 2 records over here. And if we see the departments, we have 10 record. You can see that is nothing but this is an SQL thing. We have got the count using SQL queries. Same thing we are going to do in the .NET API. So API project is running. Now our API will be API/dashboard controller name, then our method name. Method name is get dashboard data. So it will go after this. And if we press enter, we will get the debugger in the API. So you can see debugger is activated. Let's have 10. Now, so underscore object, you can see we have created the object by default because we had the properties with data type int. So it has by default initialized with 0, right? So if we run this line, so now here you can see in underscore object department count, we have got 10. So whatever the result it has got, it has stored that into over here. Again, let's have 10. Now let's see. So see, same thing. In the department table, we had 10 records. So we have got 10 count. In employees table, we had 2 records. So we have got 2 count. And this is nothing but object we are returning. So if I continue, you can see object we have returning with the value. And then this you can show it anywhere in the dashboard. Let's say you have multiple tabs and anything, you can show it over here. So this is the simple way, just a generic or the normal way how we create the dashboard APIs. Now let's try to just modify some things in the departments. Let's try to add one more column. With, let's say, created date or something, so that we can get the records with some condition. So in here, I'm adding one more column, created date Data type will be date time. It will be not null. Save. Now, since we have added one more column into the database table, we need to add same property into our model also, because this model is nothing but replica of my table. So there I have added one column. So here also I need to add. But if you see here, we had the data type as date type. So here also we need to use date type. Now, one more thing extra here, while creating table, we have said that this is not null, means we can allow null data into here. So same thing we can do it over here also by adding nullable, and inside that we can put it our data type. It will means that here data can be null. So just we are allowing like data can be null. That is the rule we are applying on this particular property by adding just this nullable. Now, let's add one more property in the dashboard data. Today's create departments. So now we had first where we had two properties, employee count and department count, and latest property is today's department. So here we need to send what are the departments which are created today. Okay, so let's see that. We don't have any data, we will insert it, but before that we will write the query. So underscore object dot today's department is equal to underscore db dot departments dot. Now we need to add the condition, like we need the count of department table where created date is equal to today's date, right? So for that we have to use where. So in Angular you might have seen filter, right? So that filter and this where is the same thing. There also we write lambda expression like this. Here also we write like this. With what we need to compare? With created date is equal to we need to compare with current date. So date time dot now. Then we need to use the count. So you get, we are trying to get the total number of records from the department table where created date is equal to today's date. Now let's try to insert some data into department table. Departments. So for testing, I am inserting current date. So this is 8 and logistic 8. So if you see, we just have two records where we have the today's date created date. Let's add one more design also, or let's add 10 to here. So now we have three records present where we have some data in the created date column, but out of that two only has the current today's date. So let's try to run and check if we get the record count as 2. So again, dashboard and get dashboard API. Let's try F10, F10, F10. Let's see how many records we have got. Okay, we have got 0. So I think we need to manually do that. Dot value. Let's try with this value. This occurs when we have what we can say, when we are dealing with the date time. So sometimes we need to match it with the particular date, because if you see here, we have the time also. You can see it is not just the date. It is a combination of date and the time. So now we are trying to match with only value and the date. Let's see if it works. Again, we have, if it doesn't work, we have to again, after that value, we need to use the date. Let's try. No, still 0. Let me just compare it with value. Dot date. Let's see now. F10, F10, F10. Yes. So see, we have got two count because we have specifically said like I just with date. Here also we have said because we have got only two records, that is testing and logistic, which was created today. Let's add sale also with current date. Continue. Try to execute this again. Continue. So you can see total today's department 3 we have got. So this is how we provide the conditions, right? Means your conditions can be anything. This might be kept changing, but the logic is the same. What we need to do, we just need to take the count of the particular. If you need all the count, you just have to write the simply like this. But if you need the count with condition, then you have to use the where and whatever the condition you need to pass. So this is how we write the queries when it comes to the dashboard APIs. Hope you have got this. In coming videos, we will be seeing like this is just a where. Again, we have single, symbol or default, first or default. Some again filtering queries we have. So that we will be seeing in the next episode.